Online and mobile discussion boards. Expand your research options. The webinar presentation today will be provided by Brent Beattie and Dan Weber. Brent is a corporate account executive with itracks, where he specializes in working with itracks clients to support their online and mobile research projects. He obtained a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Saskatchewan, majoring in marketing in 2013. Prior to joining itracks, Brent worked in sales and marketing in the telecommunications industry. Since joining itracks over a year ago, Brent has successfully worked with numerous clients to help them understand and coordinate online and mobile research projects. Also presenting today is Dan Weber. As President and CEO of itracks, Dan guides a talented team to develop, deliver, and service world-leading qualitative research software. After graduating from the University of Saskatchewan with a Bachelor of Science degree, Dan acquired practical knowledge of traditional market research while working for a management consulting firm. It was while working at this firm he developed the concept of taking traditional qualitative research methodologies online. Over the past 17 years, he has grown itracks, the organization he founded, to where it now supplies software and services to most of the world's largest market research firms and many Fortune 500 companies. All right, let's get started. Go ahead, Brent.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Garnet. First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for being here today and for joining us to learn a little bit more about online and mobile discussion boards and our itracks board product that can help facilitate those types of engagements online. So I just wanted to do a brief overview of what we're going to cover today before we dive a bit deeper in here. So I'm going to give a quick explanation of who we are as a company, a little bit of a deep dive into who itracks is, and then I'll supply some information about online discussion boards, explain what can be done and the types of features that we can employ within an itracks board as well. Then we'll jump into a quick demonstration of the itracks board, and we'll have Dan Weber, wrap things up here and talk about a few different case studies or example projects that we've done in the past to wrap up the day here too. So as I mentioned, I wanted to start by giving you a little bit of knowledge about who itracks is. We're an independent and innovative market research technology company, started in the late 1990s, but developed the first version of the discussion board software, now called itracks board, that you'll see today in 2001. We're an industry leader in mobile qualitative research, and lately have really led the industry in that video data collection piece, using not only our online software but our itracks mobile application as well, which we'll show you a bit later in the demo today too. Our digital platforms, not only the board technology that you'll see today, but some of our real-time options like itracks chat and video chat, are used not only here in North America, but by our multinational clients around the world. And all of our software is offered in a number of different languages. I think the board is available in 26, and even more for our other products as well. I did mention we do have our full suite of qualitative platform offerings. Each of our 3 different platforms do include that patented backroom technology or client viewing room that we'll dive a bit deeper into later in our demo today as well. So you know a little bit about who we are, but what really sets us apart in the industry, and why should you choose itracks over a competitor of ours? One of our biggest things here, or one reason that we really stand out, is our video collection software, not only on the desktop version but on our mobile application, but also how we can take that one step further and let you clip, tag, and edit that video data once it's been collected in the board. So keep an eye out for that technology. We'll mention it a few times here, and take a bit of a deeper dive into that technology shortly. Also, we're a leader in mobile qualitative offerings. We do have our seamlessly integrated mobile application available for itracks board, but for our other products as well too. We do have the ability to program any language into our software. Again, board is available right now in 26 different languages, and our real-time offerings are available in almost any language that you could think of as well. Do keep in mind, and I'll mention this a few more times as we jump through the demo, but we do offer 24-hour technical support, not only to moderators and people actually working on the project within our itracks system, but to any participants that may need help along the way too. If after our demonstration today you want to grab a bit more information, we can always set you up with an account executive or we can set up a free training session, something we do offer for you here at itracks as well. And that gets you a bit more acquainted and up to speed with our platform too. So that free training can be offered at any time. So, without further ado, let's dive a little deeper in here and talk about what discussion boards are. So they're qualitative research engagements. We hold them online, typically through your computer, but you can also access any of our platforms via your mobile device connected to the internet as well too. And users or participants are able to jump onto the discussion board online and discuss topics through a secure feature web application or mobile app. And typically these engagements are set over a period of days, weeks, or even months if you prefer to employ the itracks board in a bit more of a longitudinal style too. Respondents can log in at their leisure to take part in your research study and provide feedback, anytime on day one of your activity, day two, like we mentioned, up to a week or even months into the future. Users are available to provide text and video responses within the board itself, creating a threaded discussion or a diary over time, and you can use that to engage respondents in a multitude of different ways. Within our platform, the itracks board platform, we do offer many different activity types, and we'll walk you through those later as well. But different polling questions, concept markup exercises that we call IMarket, and even other activities if we need, like sorting, ranking, and video dialer exercises as well. Using online discussion boards is an effective alternative or even complement to traditional face-to-face focus groups. And it really lets you connect people quite easily from across the country or around the world, or even reach those audiences that are harder to get into a facility. They can log in online at their leisure and participate whenever they have time, as opposed to setting that time up for them to come in and meet at the same time together. Again, our software does allow clients to watch from the virtual back room, even make private comments to a moderator, from a client, similar to the back room of a physical focus group as well. So why should you use online discussion boards? I've talked about a few of these points already, but there's a few new pieces to discuss here. One is that you do gain more in-depth transcripts than other traditional qualitative methods. So people can jump in online and provide not only those text responses, but multimedia responses as well. So the discussion board is a really good way to get in-the-moment feedback, even send participants out maybe to a local grocery store to do some in-field or in-store research, even show you around their home and collect that data via pictures, videos, whatever it may be. Also, like I mentioned previously, it allows participants to jump onto the board and answer your questions or complete your activities from anywhere in the world at any time. So it makes reaching those geographically dispersed users or hard to reach respondents very easy for you as well. Also, the advanced reporting tools within our board that I'll touch on later allow for instant detailed multimedia transcripts. So we pull all those videos, pictures, PDFs, any files that respondents upload as part of your activities directly into that transcript, and that transcript is available for you immediately once the board has finished as well. So what I wanted to do now is just walk through a few of the different steps, that are involved in conducting these online discussion boards. So starting with the basics, step one is obviously to find people to take part in your research study. And there are numerous different methods that we can use for recruiting. Really, itracks is here to support and help as much as you need. So we offer technology-only solutions all the way up to full service. So if you prefer itracks to find some participants for you, they can definitely do that. If you prefer to do it yourself or have partners that you enjoy working with, we're more than happy to work with them too. So while recruiting for these online and mobile research methodologies, there are a few special considerations that you should keep in mind as opposed to recruiting participants for a more traditional qualitative engagement. One is obviously screening people for their comfort level, participating in an online discussion board. So asking how comfortable they are with different pieces of technology, maybe including their cell phone or the computer, their webcam in general, making sure that they have devices that are compatible, and making sure that they're able to participate in any project-related specifications. If you're asking them to do something like an in-home use test or to go out and go to the store, provide feedback, in the moment while they're shopping for groceries, just making sure that we're screening for that criteria ahead of time, so that respondent expectations are, or so that we make our expectations of the respondents clear before the study actually begins. We do that by explaining the process to them, how many days they'll need to participate, the fact that they may need a mobile device or will be asked to record video. We just need to be very upfront about that during the recruitment process. That way we make sure we get qualified respondents that can provide us the data we need. Also, we'd like to be very upfront about timelines for the project, even about incentives or honorarium that they may be paid. We'll include all that, in the screener right up front for participants, just to make sure they know what to expect. So after we've, developed a screener, we've decided our expectations of participants and set that out in a really clear way, we can throw that screener out into the field, into a targeted sample, or maybe even a client list if you have. We do have the ability to contact multiple vendors, so if you're looking for a bit of a tough to find or hard to find set of respondents, we can definitely try and help with that too. While we're in the field looking for respondents, you should expect daily updates from a project manager, whether that be from itracks here or from a recruiter of your choice as well. At this point, we do want to determine if there's any additional needs for participants. So if we're trying to reach a very targeted sample, we may need to send out webcams or do things like technical checks just to make sure that respondent's technology will work as we go forward with the process for your study. After we've found or qualified some of these respondents, at this point we can go ahead and mail out or send out any additional equipment like webcams, like I mentioned, even products if we plan to do something like an in-home use test. We do that at this point just to make sure everything is prepared and ready to go for when we start our study. The next step is more of a final confirmation. So if you prefer, your recruiter or itracks can call out to participants just to remind them and confirm the time of the study via phone, even rescreen or complete technical checks like I mentioned before. We do even have the ability to set up almost test activities or activities to test for articulation within the board, just to make sure you have a high quality respondent taking part in your study as well too. At that point, we're ready to roll if you are as well, so we can start running our study, push people into the board or open our itracks board for respondents or participants to log in at their leisure and participate in the activities that you've set up. So the next step in the process of online discussion boards is obviously to conduct your board or to start taking in information from your participants. So in order to do that, we obviously have to jump into the board and set up your discussion guide and your stimuli, and decide what we're going to present to them and the types of activities that we'd like them to complete. So at this point, we provide those free training sessions that teach a member of your team, if you prefer, how to enter discussion guides, set up different question types, and set up activities within the board. We do have a team here that can do that for you, but it's very easy for your team to set it up yourself. Like I said, we're as full service or do-it-yourself as you prefer. Whatever works best for you will work good for our team as well. And it's just an example here of the itracks board interface on the right-hand side of a polling style question that we had set up that participants had begun to answer as well. So once we've set up our discussion guide, either you or a member of our itracks team, the next step is to actually conduct the group, engage participants within the board, and obtain that feedback in the activities that we've posed to them. Keep in mind at this point we can have your client log into the back room, provide feedback to you as the moderator, or even ask you to probe for additional information from participants using that patented backroom technology as well. And last but not least, the fourth step of online discussion boards is reporting. And we'll deep dive into this reporting tab within the itracks board a bit later, but just know at this point you have the ability to download transcripts in a few different formats within our board immediately upon the conclusion of groups, or even while the groups are running if you prefer to pull data up to that point. We can leverage different filtering and formatting options within the transcript tool, and even produce transcripts for things like those concept markup activities or IMarket activities that we viewed before. and even use something we call the video highlight tool to clip, edit, and tag the video data that may have been collected while the board was running as well. But we'll deep dive into those reporting tools a bit later in the demo here. Just understand that we have the ability to do that. So just as a quick recap here, or an overview of our itracks board technology, it's an asynchronous online discussion platform. And it does have our itracks mobile app fully integrated into the board, so you shouldn't see a difference between respondents taking part in your activities via the mobile app or the online version. That mobile application is fully integrated and can be leveraged as you need. Typically, these engagements are 1 to 7 days in length. About 3 days is the most common for a discussion board, but no, we have the ability to go anywhere from the 1 day in length all the way up to 3 months, 6 months, even a year if you prefer. We can run the board in more of a longitudinal mini community style as well too if needed. The most typical amount of participants that we would see would be maybe 20 participants, or recruit 20 for 15 to complete. But we do include up to 50 in the price of an itracks board, and we cap out in total at 300. So obviously 20 is the most common, but we can go higher to provide you the ability to target different segments, or even segment participants within the board to compare their data to if you need. The board is offered in 26 different languages, so understand that we can repurpose or change the board into different languages as needed if you're conducting research in other countries. And of course, we do have that patented backroom technology that we've mentioned a few times throughout our demo so far. I haven't mentioned this yet, but we can white label or rebrand the itracks board software either to your brand or a brand of a client if needed. When we set up a project, that is included in the setup, so no additional fee for that as well. And we can set up a variety of different activities within the board. We'll show you those in a second here, but understand we can do different polling style questions. We can set up those IMarket concept evaluation activities for both videos and static images. And we do have that video collection ability where we let you edit, clip, and tag that video data on the back end, making it easy for you, the researcher, to leverage that video data collected. And of course, last but not least, reports or transcripts can be automatically generated from the system with that media and video highlight reels embedded into the data you pull. So I want to emphasize that video data collection piece a little further here. This is probably the thing that sets us apart as a platform the most. Users can really easily upload video responses from their webcam or from their mobile device. And they can upload videos with up to 15 minutes in length within our platform, which is the best in the industry right now. We do make it very easy for you as the researcher to turn that video into something a bit more tangible or useful for you with those highlight reels that can be created. We let you clip, tag, edit, or code the videos as needed within the platform as well. And understand, I guess, the power that mobile app or the fully integrated mobile app with video capability may have. If you need to send respondents, out to the grocery store to do a shop along or even do some in-home use tests, that mobile application can be very powerful if needed as well too. Just to touch on a few features of that mobile app, it is available for both iOS and Android devices. Like we mentioned, it's completely integrated with the board. Respondents can jump back and forth between our mobile app and the desktop version as much as they need. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, but is very important, is that our application is available in an offline mode as well. So participants aren't required to have a strong cellular data connection or even a Wi-Fi connection. As long as they've logged into the activity once, they can head out and participate in any of our activities. Once they return home, if they don't have a strong connection at the time they participate in the activity, our mobile application will automatically push those responses to the board later, making a very seamless experience for participants while they're using the mobile app as well, even if they don't have access to a strong connection. And keep in mind it does promote an inter-participant discussion, so we can set up push notifications anytime someone replies to a post that a respondent had, or even the moderator can get push notifications via the mobile app when new answers or responses are posted to the board as well. So very handy to have the itracks mobile app as well. So at this point, I think it's best that we just dive right into the software here. So I'm just going to queue up the itracks board demo on screen here. Keep in mind, if you do have any questions, you can type your questions into the chat box at the bottom. We won't address them as the webinar is going on unless it's very easy to do so, but we will address those questions once the demonstration is complete and Dan has walked everyone through a few case studies here as well. So within our itracks board technology, there are 3 distinct levels of access. I'm viewing or showing you right now the participant view. So this is the participant level of access, but do understand that there's some modifications that have been made for the moderator's view, and even for that client observer or backroom view as well. So we'll start in the participant view here, then I'm going to jump into the moderator's view to show you guys some of the reporting features that we have available, those clipping, editing, and tagging tools, but just understand the distinction between the two. Again, we can see here live support is available for participants anytime. It's just a click away and you'll be connected with an itracks representative that can help you out too. Within our board platform, all of the features or different activities are just available through the main ribbon here. So my name is Alan, the participant here, and I'm going to jump into the discussion. At this point, I'll walk you guys through a few of the different activity types or question types that can be set up within an itracks board, just to give you a bit of a better understanding of how powerful the technology is and how you can leverage it for your research. So we start out with just a quick instructions page here. Thanks for participating in the discussion. Respondents can hit the next button at any time to move on to the next available activity. These questions are all set up in a sequential order. So as a participant, even though I can see that day 1, 2, and 3 questions are posted here, I can't jump onto day 3 and take part in a question if I haven't answered them in sequential order yet. What I wanted to show you first was just an example of a simple text-based question here, but one where we asked respondents to reply to the activity using video. So in this question, we asked respondents to tell us a bit about where they're from, describe their city and what they love about it, and please do so using their webcam. I just want to emphasize how easy it is to upload video responses within the board. And what we'll do in a second here is actually upload a video response using our mobile application as well. So afternoon, everyone. That's me on your screen right now. And I'm just going to record a quick 10 or 15-second video response. Once we jump into the moderator's view later, we can show you how easy it is to clip, tag, and edit this video data once it's been uploaded to the board. But as you can see, our respondent Alan is uploading that video response here. He can hit stop anytime and hit the post reply button here to automatically post his response to this activity. We can even take it one step further here as well. So Alan has uploaded or recorded a video to be uploaded, but he does have the ability to add a variety of different media to his response. Add picture files, PDFs, even add web links. Whatever you need from your respondent, they can add that as part of their reply here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit that post reply button. That video is going to upload to the server for us to clip, tag, and edit a bit later in the demo. So what I wanted to do now is just quickly pull up our itracks mobile application here. I want to emphasize really how the experience for participants is seamless, whether they log in using that mobile application or whether they log in using the desktop version as well. So I'm using a program here called Reflector. I'm just going to queue up my mobile application here just so we can see my phone on screen. Perfect. So I'm going to pull up the same question that we just answered on the desktop version on my mobile device here now. So I'm in that getting to know you topic, and we just answered that getting to know you thread here. Again, it was tell us a bit about yourself, and please respond to us using your webcam. And just like we did on the desktop version, I can hit the reply button here on my mobile device. And it's giving me the option to respond with either video or text. But know that we can lock down a response type. So if we want to require a video response for this type of question, we can do that as well. You'll notice that our video data collection software launches right within our mobile application as well. So respondents aren't required to record videos separately and upload them into the application. Everything is done right within the question within our itracks mobile app too. Afternoon again, everyone. I'm going to record another 12 or 15-second video here. We can push that to the board to clip, tag, and edit and use as we see fit while we're moderating and looking through those reporting features later. And again, I can play my video back if I need, but I'm just going to hit that Use Video button and submit our video response to the board just like I did on the desktop version as well. And we'll notice it's sending our item here, and that's because we are on Wi-Fi currently. Keep in mind, again, we don't use respondent cellular data connections to send this data away. It will upload to the system once they return home, just to make sure the experience for them is easy and seamless as well. Perfect. So within the board, as opposed to just these simple text-based questions or video data collection questions, we can employ a few different types of activities as well. So I want to walk you through a couple of those different question types as a respondent here too. Here's an example of a simple polling style question. So we asked respondents, on your last trip to Alberta, and that's a region here within Canada, did you visit any of the following attractions? And I can go ahead and select a few of those attractions here, maybe even add some text or a description, and post my reply to the board as a respondent as well. As opposed to these polling style questions, we do have a variety of different advanced exercises that are available within the board. So understand that we can do different sorting and ranking style questions, even video slider technology if needed, and something that we call IMarket. IMarket is a concept evaluation tool. It lets respondents use a variety of different tools to mark up not only static images, but videos if needed as well. So I'm going to pull up a quick example of one of these activities for us to see here. So like I mentioned previously, there are about 34 different tools available that we can employ for each of these iMarket activities. And we'll really pick the tool that fits your research needs or your piece of media that you're evaluating the best. I'll show you a couple examples of those here, but just know we have a variety of different options for that. Respondents are presented with a quick instructions window that can definitely be customized here to provide a bit more detail or provide some custom instructions for your activity if needed. But as a respondent, I can hit that continue button and I can use the tools that are provided to me. It looks like for this activity we've made the emoticon tool available, so a like, a dislike, and a question function available here. So all that respondents need to do is go ahead and select one of these tools and click on the image. Every time that a respondent clicks, they're going to be prompted to leave a quick text comment with one of these text boxes here. And we can look at a few examples. I'm in the moderator view of this activity right now, so I'm reviewing old responses, but we can see our respondent Leanne jumped in here and she left a dislike function that said, what about single people on this InstaFriends comment here too. And we can jump through and review all of the different comments that she left while completing her markup activity here as well. So as a respondent, once I've left all my marks and comments, I can hit the save and exit button and move on to the next activity within our itracks board as well. So that was all of the different activity or question types that we can set up within the board. What I'm going to do now, and you can see that I've already changed here, is jump into the moderator's view. So we were viewing the board from a participant perspective earlier to this, but I'm actually in the moderator's view now. And I wanted to walk you through a few of the other tabs here that have some useful information for you as a researcher. When you're thinking about setting up projects or thinking of designing projects that may take place in an itracks board. Again, we do provide those free one-on-one training sessions to get you a bit more familiar with the platform. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this project setup or users tab, but there are a few features that I did want to mention that are quite useful as well. So within the itracks board, we do have the ability to set up 3 different question types or question modes on a per question basis. So we'll look here. This question is set up in an uninfluenced mode, which is typically our default question mode. And that just means respondents won't be able to view each other's answers to this activity unless they've answered themselves. We saw that when we answered some of those activities earlier, but it wouldn't show me anyone else's responses until I provided my own feedback there. We do have a regular mode for questions. This is basically a free-for-all. So respondents can view all responses right away. And this may be particularly useful for something like an icebreaker activity, where we don't really need to avoid the bias or influence of other answers there. Last but not least, the third question mode is an interview mode, which basically locks interaction for that question down between the moderator and each individual participant. And note, we can change the mode on a per question basis like I mentioned earlier, so every question could be put in a different mode if we need. I do want to mention as well, we do have the ability to group or segment members of your itracks board as well. So if we have 40 participants, we can go ahead and assign 10 into one category, 10 into another, and divide them up, even tailor the discussion guide among those groups by selecting different groups to pose this question to here. So if I only want to present this question that I'm editing here to males, I'll go ahead and select males, and they would be the only ones that see this question. I can even take it one step further here as well, so I can select males and females, so it will ask everyone within our board this question, but I can change the responses viewable option here and select within groups, so that means that only females can see other females' answers, and males can only see other males' answers. So that basically locks interaction down among those groups that we've identified prior to the start of the board. So just note we have the ability to do that as well. So I'm not going to jump into the users tab today here, but we talked about the recruitment process a bit earlier in the webinar today. Just understand that we've developed a variety of different tools to make that process much easier for you, and we'd cover those different tools in a more in-depth training session in the future. Last but not least, I did want to touch on the reporting tab. So I mentioned at the start of our webinar today, how we're really industry leading in that video data collection piece, but also how we have a lot of useful tools that let you clip, tag, and edit this video data on the back end to turn these videos into something a bit more useful. So let's say, while someone was participating in our board, they left a really great comment in one of these videos that I'd prefer to use for a final report or pull out for a client presentation. I can go and pull up one of the videos that were recorded by participants. We can filter by topic and question type, even user here if we need. And I can actually create highlights or edits of the main video, to really pull out the most insightful or most useful pieces of this video. So let's say I had a really good comment that respondent Alan was leaving here. I can go ahead and hit the red Create a Tag button. And we'll notice a green tag popped up on the bottom here. It'll let me adjust the timing of that tag. And I can even assign this new highlight or chunk of video data to a different category. And these categories are completely customizable. So I've developed a purple category here called the report quote category. I'm going to select that, just leave a quick note for myself. Just say, great comment for final report. When I hit the Save and Close button, our system is going to go ahead and create a new video highlight only with that small chunk of data that I tagged as most relevant there. And let's say for this getting to know you question, there were 4 or 5 different comments that seemed most useful to me. I can go ahead and just drag and drop these video highlights or these new chunks, clips, tags, edits, whatever you'd like to call them, into the highlight reel at the bottom here and create one new video with all those good comments that I identified within the board. So we really make it quite easy to go ahead and create those video highlights or pull the most relevant video data out of the board as well. When we hit the Create Video button, we can give this new video a quick name. I'll say great comments, and we can export and download these videos in an MP4 format if needed. We keep all of this data within our platform for you for 2 years, so you can log in at a later date and reclip, tag, or edit the video data as needed, whatever works best for you. So we do have a variety of different options underneath the reporting tabs here. So we looked at the options to turn those videos or full videos into highlights. But what I want to do now is just look at the transcript tool. And again, you can pull transcripts from our system at any time. And they're available in a few different formats. The most common or most intuitive is a Microsoft Word format. And that's because it embeds links to any of the media that respondents uploaded as an answer to your activities within the discussion board. So if there's a video, picture, audio file, whatever it may be, there's going to be a live link within that Word format transcript for you as the moderator to view. So you don't have to jump back into the platform to go watch, the video for respondent A. You can click within that transcript and it will play for you right away. We do also have more of an Excel response grid format available, which is more of a raw data type of offering, so you can see exact responses in a bit of a different format there too. We can go ahead and filter by different groups that we've established within the board. So I can pull transcripts for males or females separately, even filter by individual participants or topic or question type, whatever works best for me. But I went ahead and downloaded a transcript here previously. So I just want to give you guys a quick overview of what one of these transcripts would look like after it's been pulled from an itracks board as well. And what I'm going to do is just jump into that getting to know you thread that we initially looked at here. So we'll see the topic type and then each individual question called out underneath. If you remember, this was the video response type question. So we said introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about where you're from using your webcam. And we'll view all those responses here right within the transcript. And we can see that this participant, Adam, left a 14-second video response. And we can even see the groups that he's a part of. So it calls out here that he was identified as a male in the Gen X age category, and that he was a casual traveler or identified as one within our system. And you do have the ability to see any interaction among participants here as well. So, if Brent went ahead and replied to Alan's response, you would see all that information here too. So just a quick example of those transcripts that you can pull from the system. So last but not least for reporting features, I did want to show you the back-end reporting tools for an iMarket activity. And again, I had mentioned previously, iMarket is available for either static images or videos. But we're looking at the reporting tools for the iMarket we previously finished, which was a Nissan print ad here. So on the main page, you just get a breakdown of the different tool types that respondents employed during the iMarket activity. And if we remember, there was a like, dislike, and question function available. So we can see, how many respondents used the like, dislike, or question buttons while they were completing the activity here. We can also at any time download a Excel transcript showing each individual comment that will call out the tool type used in the respondent that left comments as well. But probably the most useful or most intuitive feature on this back-end reporting tool here is the heat map function. So this heat map here is showing us a heat map produced for every click that was received on the image. So all the likes, dislikes, and question functions as well. But on the right side here, we have the ability to filter by different tool type too. So I'm just going to show the clicks received with the like button. And I can even go ahead and show each of the individual data points here, even the tool type used. Or if I prefer, I can show the actual comments left by participants and export this to use it in a client presentation or a final report as well. So at any time, I can hit the Create a Report Snapshot button here, and it's just going to do a screen capture of this iMarket reporting area. And that way you can really easily export it for use as you need. And I did just want to quickly jump into the reporting tool for iMarket here for a video. So it varies slightly, but same layout technically, it'll show you the breakdown of different tools used. But instead of producing heat maps, it's actually going to show us the clicks that we received on the image in more of a longitudinal chart style here. So if we look on the bottom, these orange bars represent the amount of clicks we received and at what second point of the video the click was placed. So if we look here at 7 seconds, it looks like we received a few clicks on that point. We can actually, on the screen here, jump through those different clicks that we received. Just to give you an idea of the reporting tools here. So just as a segue here, before Dan jumps in and starts talking about a few different case studies that we prepared for you guys today, there was one more feature that I wanted to mention, and it's something called survey integration. And it can be repurposed in two different ways. So I'll go through both of them here. But survey integration can be used as a mixed methodology method. So let's say you have 1,000 people that are taking place in a quantitative survey, and you want to pull out a subset of that 1,000 people to have them move into a more qualitative itracks board engagement online. This survey integration piece can actually, right within your survey, identify the respondents that you want to speak to, and pull them out of the survey and automatically redirect them into an itracks board for them to start participating immediately in a more qualitative itracks board engagement. It can also be used to quickly recruit participants for an itracks board as well too. So, if you came to itracks on Monday and said you wanted to launch a project Wednesday or Thursday, we can set up your screener the same day and actually pull participants directly from the screener, push them into the itracks board to start taking part in one of these itracks board studies on the same day that they've completed your screener as well. So the technology can be used in those two different ways, but I just wanted to walk you through a quick example of the technology here just so you can get a good understanding of how it works. And then Dan has a case study that was set up using this integrated recruit method that he'll mention in a minute or two here. But we've set up our survey beforehand and left a few questions in our survey that would identify the respondents that we want to be pulled out of the survey and pushed into an itracks board or a more qualitative engagement for participation. So I'm going to go through and just enter my information here. I'm a male, 26 years old. I travel for pleasure 2 or 4 times a year. And it's just going to ask me to enter some information to articulate. And it looks like, great, I've qualified to participate in an itracks board study. We're asking for 90 minutes of time, and I'll receive $75 if I participate. Yeah, I'd love to do that. This screen wouldn't typically come up for respondents, but it shows us here that these were the 3 criteria I used to identify people that I'd want to pull out of the quantitative survey and move into our qualitative itracks board. So I was looking for millennial males who have casual travel habits. When I hit the continue button here, just enter a little information about myself, it's going to automatically pull me into an itracks board, and I can start participating or taking part in these activities that the researcher has set up right away. So on day 1, we could launch your survey, and within 4 or 5 hours you may already have 30 or 40 people in your board completing those activities for day 1. So without further ado, I did want to push things over to Dan Weber here. At this point, he wanted to speak to a few different case studies that we prepared for you guys today about projects that we've completed using this board technology. So Dan, take it away.
We have a short period of time here to show you some of these features. If you're at all interested in seeing them in more depth, we can arrange a one-on-one demonstration. I've had the opportunity to be involved in a number of different studies. What we've tried to do is pull together a few of them here to give you an idea of kind of the scope and breadth of how the tool is being used, and perhaps allow you to conceptualize how it might be applied for your own research. The first study I wanted to talk about was a real interesting study. It had to do with a company called Star Produce. And Brent, I'll get you to just move to the next slide there. You've got the controls. There we go. So Star Produce is a major supplier to the grocery industry. And to describe this project, I've got to give you a little bit of a background. They had a particularly large crop of tomatoes that year. And what they wanted to do is they had an idea that this crop of tomatoes, which were field tomatoes, they thought if they packaged them differently and perhaps sold them in a new way, they could produce much higher margin and really sell off these tomatoes. Now, what I didn't know is up to 90% of tomatoes in given markets are sold as hothouse tomatoes. So the majority of people prefer hothouse tomatoes over field tomatoes, and it was field tomatoes what they had. But someone from Star Produce came up with the idea that a field tomato does have a better benefit, and that better benefit is that it doesn't run. And so when you cut it, you don't kind of get the juice and the seeds and everything pouring out. And what field tomatoes are perfect for are for sandwiches and for burgers, and cutting a big slice of tomato on either of those. July 4th weekend was coming up, and they realized that that was the largest grilling time throughout the year, and this is when they sold an awful lot of tomatoes. So what they wanted to test in some of their major markets was if they repackaged these field tomatoes and put a little bit of a different spin on it, would they be able to sell off this large crop of tomatoes at a premium price? So what they did, we went to 4 major markets. They had a very short window to turn this around. We asked consumers to go into the store, talk about how they chose their tomatoes and for what reasons, come back to the store, have them actually prepare a sandwich or a burger using the tomatoes that they bought. And it gave them some real insights on how to then go to the next step in terms of how they package the product and how they promote it. And we've just got some examples here of some actual videos that took place from the actual study. If you want to switch to the next slide there, Brent. So typically this would have some audio. It's just not coming through the system right now, but this is actual grocers, actually participants going into the grocery stores and talking about how they choose their tomatoes. And shortly it's going to switch over to, this was using our editing tool. We kind of just made a quick film strip here for you. But that just gives you an example of what they did in store. We had some videos use in home, and once they gathered that information, they produced what they thought was good packaging, and it was really interesting what they came up with. They decided to put 2 very large tomatoes into a package, and they came up with a witty tagline. If you can imagine, it was a picture of a very large tomato on a couch, and the tagline below it was, "We don't run." So basically, the concept that these tomatoes don't run and they can be used for sandwiches, it was a smashing success, and they were able to move the product. And it was the real key to this research, however, was that they had such a short timeline, and to go to the field in these 4 major centers and get that information using traditional methods just wouldn't have been able to happen. It wouldn't have been able to take place. So they were very happy with with this new methodology, and produced what they were hoping for. Moving on to the next study. This one was a major beverage supplier. They wanted to find out how hydration fit into what they considered people with an active lifestyle. So they wanted to get a sense of where people were drinking water and how they were hydrating themselves throughout the day, and in what different environments they were doing that. So they targeted these people in not only they classified them as active lifestyles, but they also wanted to get quite specific from a geography standpoint. What they did was they asked these people to actually journal when they were drinking water. So that sometimes was in the home, so they were doing that online. Sometimes that was when they were out in the field. And the immediacy and the ability to use a mobile device in this case was critical, because they wanted to show, I'm on a jog right now, there's a water fountain here, this is why I'm drinking water. In other cases, I'm at a ball game, I bought a couple of waters for myself and my family, and this is how we're using it. And what they got was a really kind of a good sense of how people were consuming water and in what ways. They asked people to submit videos, photos. They even went into the home and asked them to show, how they store their beverages and where. This gave them a real good understanding of the next phase of marketing and advertising, as well as some packaging ideas as well. I'll get you to move on to the next one there, Brent. Another interesting study, this one was with Kinemedica Marketing Solutions, or Market Solutions. This is with diabetic patients, and they wanted to do this in two phases. They wanted to do both a mobile ethnography, and then from there even go and do deep dives using video IDI, so a bit of a mixed methodology. They also wanted to do it amongst both patients as well as nurses. And in this case, they had the patients actually showing them how they're using the devices, what they like, what they disliked about them. They got into privacy discussions, because this was a bit of a sensitive topic research. In this case, they use these as the IDI mode. So participants, from their point of view, obviously we're just discussing one-on-one with the moderator. There wasn't inter-participant interaction in these cases. They got a great response. They also discussed this with the nurses. They found it, in some cases it can be particularly difficult to get nurses in the same group at a specific time. So the nurses really preferred this methodology because they were able to obviously participate on their own time. So sometimes when they came home, they could then have the discussion or the time to fill in their questions that they had been asked. Again, it was a smashing success. They got great information and feedback on what one might consider a bit of a sensitive topic and sometimes difficult for patients to discuss in a one-on-one environment. That anonymity, sometimes from what we've seen, allows the patients to open up and discuss some things that are often difficult to talk about. And moving on, another example. Well, this is just a quote that from our client. Just quickly talks a little bit about the the success and what they felt they got out of the research. And next slide there. And finally, this is a case study that we did with Research Now, and this is what the last part that Brent described. This one was as much to test the methodology that we were employing, the new integration or what we're calling on-demand recruiting. In this case, we chose people that either had recently bought or were planning to buy an SUV. And what we were doing is we were testing the response rates and cooperation rates using the integrated method of recruiting. So again, we set up the screener. We asked people to go through the screener. Those that qualified automatically jumped into the board and began completing the questions. What we were testing here is the typical way of doing this type of recruiting is you'd ask people to go through the screener. There's a planned and timed event later on, and would they come back in perhaps a week or 2 weeks to do the study. What we always had to account for is a dropout, because people can say, okay, I'm available 2 weeks from now, but indeed are they going to be available when the time comes? And what we experienced using that traditional method is that there's always some dropout. And it's a bit of a guessing game trying to figure out how many people might show up from the original recruit. And it can be sometimes difficult if you get started on the first day and you have to kind of re-recruit or try to get a few more people in. This way, using the integrated recruit method, basically, if you have a high enough incidence, you can get people coming in, and in this case, in 6 hours, we had everyone recruited and the people going through the study. It was an excellent, excellent way to do the recruiting, and quite frankly, we've really kind of moved this method along, and a number of our clients are using this method for recruiting. So quickly, just going in here, I want to leave some time for questions. This was one of the heat map, the IMarkets that we had using the SUV study. People marked it up, gave us some great feedback. Next slide there. These are some of the comments. Again, just really interactive. We used the video editor to edit some clips. Just quick and easy. I pulled together 2 clips here. These are 2, literally it took me about 3 minutes to pull these with some positive or negative comments. If you want to just click on the negative comments one there. And again, this has audio. It's just not coming through the system in this environment that we've got set up. But really, again, just a great way to gather that feedback in ways that you just couldn't do this type of research in any other way. So those are 3 quick examples of how we've applied this and how it's being used. You know, obviously, you guys have to come together and talk about how it might be applied in your own case. We'd welcome a discussion around that. Please give us a call to talk about your studies and what you have in mind, what you might have in mind. We can give you some feedback on our own experience and how it's being used. With that, I think I'd like to kind of pass this back to Garnett and begin to get her talk about if there's any questions that came up during the study. Please feel free to enter them now.
All right, so we have a couple questions that have submitted. Please feel free to submit your questions in the chat area of the GoToWebinar panel. So first off, what is the maximum length of a video that can be posted in the itracks board?
Brent, I can tackle that one. One of the things that came up right away was that we wanted to make sure that this could be used in what we consider full ethnography style. I know a number of our competitors offer very short video options, so 1 minute, a minute and a half. We offer up to 15 minutes of video, and that's actually limited by product devices, not necessarily the software. So indeed, you can get quite in-depth and long videos.
Great. All right. And next question, if you had a number of concepts that you want to present to participants, are you able to randomize the concepts as they're presented in the board?
Again, I can handle it. Yes, indeed. We have a randomization feature. We want to make sure that we don't have order bias in our studies, especially when we're doing larger studies where there may be some quantitative applications that you're pulling from it. And indeed, you can rotate those or certainly randomize them as well.
Great. Okay, well, we are getting to the end of our time today. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I do want to mention an upcoming webinar that's, first of all, some resources. You're welcome to visit our website. We have a number of other webinars and resource documents that can assist with transitioning to online or mobile-based market research. So feel free to visit our website, itracks.com/resources, for some of those great resources. One that I'd like to recommend in particular is a great webinar by Liz Van Patten, one of our clients, shifting discussion boards into high gear, and she gave some great tips and suggestions for success. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day. If you have any further questions or need more information, feel free to contact us.